Funding Month, presented with Oracle for Startups and American Express, recognizes the stories, lessons learned, and best practices shared by founders and funders around the world.
This to other businesses, but I discovered that doing business with the federal government is an awesome way to grow and scale. The federal government literally buys everything from dog food to aircraft parts, right? So there's not an industry that you can name to me where there are not opportunities in the federal marketplace. And so that made them very attractive to me. And then some other things, which I think we'll get into. But when I started as a single teenage mother of twins. And started my first business with my father and my brother. That's the construction site cleaning company. And was able to, through that company, I just decided, I'm going after everything they say I qualify for. So I'm doing all the certifications, MBE, DBE, SDB, NAACP, 8A, HIJK, LMNOP, whatever letters they were giving out. I was going for it. And so I did not understand exactly how to leverage them all, but I knew that I qualified for these things. The 8A program, which is a program through the SBA, who you guys had here already, the 8A program was the thing that opened my eyes to the possibilities of doing business with the federal government. And so through that program, I was able to win several sole sourced opportunities. I'm talking no proposals, no bidding, no none of that. Literally.
So let's back up a minute, because you threw out a lot of acronyms, and I want to make sure our listeners understand and know what they are and define sole source. I'm familiar with it with the Florida marketplace contracting, but not so much on the federal marketplace level. So you mentioned the certifications. Yes. So what was go ahead.
So the certifications, so the first one that I went after was WBE, which stands for Women Business Enterprise, right? And then there's Minority Business Enterprise, MBE. Then there's DBE, which is usually through your Department of Transportation. That's your Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And then there's others, Service Disabled, Veteran-Owned, SDVOSB. There's 8A, which is in a class all kind of by itself, and then there's Hub Zone. So the MBE, WBE, those are certifications you can get through your state, through your city. You can go through WeBank, the Women's Business Center, right? The Women's Business Development Center to get women business certified. You can go through MSDC, Minority Supplier Development Council, to get minority certified. But for federal, the SBA's programs, one, they're all free. So MSDC and WeBank and all of those, they cost. The city and state are free, but this 8A certification is the only one of its kind because it's a business development program in addition to it being a certification. And so that particular program that the SBA has is designed to help companies, particularly minority companies, succeed in the federal marketplace. It's the only one. And through that program, you can get contracts that are sole sourced, meaning I can work with a buyer in the federal marketplace, and under a certain threshold, they can take it out of competition for everybody else and say, we're going to solely award this to your company because you meet the requirements, and we don't have to put it out to everyone. And so that program allows you to get what are sole source contracts. Most small business owners kind of get tripped up around these certifications and these set asides. They really believe that you could just show up with a certification and there's a contract set aside for you. That's a lie, right? That's not how that goes. That's not why you get certified. Your certification simply helps either an agency, a organization, a business meet a minority participation goal that they've set for themselves, or a woman participation goal, meaning they want to spend a certain amount with that socioeconomic class, but it's not a contract waiting for you to show up with your certification and you get a contract in exchange.
Wow.
That's
I'm
not what that
glad you
is.
defined that, because some people think that's the case.
Yeah, and that's not the case. And so when I get back to 8A, that's the one that helped me to understand the federal marketplace. So I don't even play city, local, municipal. I go where the money reside, where they printing it at.
Oh.
So why go local? You're right. Whose budget is set by the state, whose budget is set by the federal, and just go to where the money is printed, and that's at the federal marketplace.
Lord, she
And so
done
that
gave me
was
a
my
theme.
interest.
Now go where the money is printed, everybody. Don't, because I mean, when I first got into entrepreneurship, that was something, because I'm in the service industry and I'm administrative management consultant. So I was, I deal with individual people, but I also wanted to have a consistent revenue stream with federal contracts on the state and the local level. In Jacksonville, of course, we have the Jacksonville Small Emerging Business Program. We have the SBA office, which they share, and they really emphasize, Mr. Hammond did, about the 8A program that you're talking about. And he told us yesterday that Jacksonville has 110 people 8A certified, and they have received repetitive contracts because it's not so many people in Jacksonville that's certified. So with that being said, for those who already registered to do business with the city or the municipalities in their area, in their region, how would the same documentation that's required to do it on the local level, will it be the same documentation needed on the federal level?
It is similar.
Okay.
It is similar. And if you've gone through any of those programs, city or state level, you are certainly further along than someone who's just going into the 8A program without having done any of these other certifications. I will say the 8A certification process is a little more stringent, right? They do want, a blood sample on your firstborn, but by the time you get through all the state regulations, it's actually not that bad. I think the one major difference is you do have to make a case for your socioeconomic disadvantage, because that's really what that 8A program is about, right? It's about you not having the same access as your counterparts. And so you would benefit from this business development program and from the support and help of the SBA in this way because of this deficiency. And that might be, I'm a woman in a male dominated industry. I'm a minority owned business that does not get as many opportunities as my white counterparts. That's, statistically that's proven, right? So you do have to make that case. And then you do have to submit things like a business plan to them so that they understand, because it's a business development program. It's not the get rich quick. It is not the, see my skin color, give me money. It's not that kind of thing. It's really designed to help your business grow and expand.
That's awesome.
So it's very similar, but that was my entry into federal contracting. And that's where I won contracts from Texarkana, Miami, where else? Folsom, Wyoming. Like, we had contracts all over from one little office in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Right.
Wow.
Never did I ever travel to some of those. And I held 5-year sole source contracts at these facilities. And then there's strategy behind like how you do that without ever going to Texarkana and hold a 5-year contract and get paid month after month on money you can count on.
Wow. Okay. I need to know that secret.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure our listeners need to do too. So you said you was a teenage mom and you had twins. There's a lot of women now that's transitioning into this space, especially we heard like the end of last year, women was the most, 150,000 women got laid off from jobs in 2020. So I'm quite sure a lot of them now is interested in exploring, pivoting into the world of entrepreneurship. How were you able to juggle all that after you pivoted from the contracting business with your brother and your dad?
Yeah. So, during the early days, let's be clear, we grew that business from absolutely no money, $0.00 to several $1,000,000 in sales in about 6 years.
Wow.
And I had no idea that that was even a thing. Like, I was just working with my head down, not comparing myself to anybody else. I always say that my blissful ignorance was my biggest blessing, because I had nobody to compare myself to, right? So I just thought everybody in business was making millions. That's what I did. That's what I thought. So I didn't even know that was a big deal. But I also, in the early days, I worked until we could get to the point where we could pay. We paid our first employee with my father's unemployment check. You
Wow.
got to be willing to do what you can where you are with what you have. That's kind of principle number one. Because entrepreneurship and small business ownership, it's not for the faint at heart. It's not for the person that needs a whole lot of security. If you need a human resources department and you need a check on the 15th and the 30th, entrepreneurship might not be for you. As much as social media keeps telling you to start a business, you need to go get a job.
I am so glad you said that, because my
It's
niece
not
tell
for
me,
everybody.
to my auntie, I need to start an LLC. I said, no, what you need to do is research what is required to start an
Yeah.
LLC. You just
Yeah.
can't do it just because everybody on social media say do it.
Right. Yeah, you probably need a job. If you want security, I know the commercials say if you want freedom and more time with your family and all this stuff, then start a business. And that's not true, especially in the early days. Once you have a business that works for you and you
Right.
don't work for it, then
Right.
you get those benefits. But in the early days, when you're making the transition, you got to be willing to do what you can where you are with what you have, right? So the very first thing that I did in making that transition is I determined what's my bare minimum. What do I need at the bare minimum to survive? Right. So
Right.
what could I cut off? I cut off cable. Back then I cut off extra calling features. You remember when you
Mm-hmm.
had to pay for call waiting and home phones and
Yes.
stuff like that. we
Oh,
cut
wow.
that off. We cut off cable. We just cut down to food, shelter, what we need to survive, and this is what I can live on. And now my goal is to simply meet my basic needs. That's when I'm first getting started. That's the only thing you're looking to do: meet your basic needs, and then you start building from that place. I think people just have the wrong perception of what it looks like, and they want to come in and make 1 million in over the weekend, or do a 6-figure, launch, and from the door just make, 6 figures. And that's not always the case. So part of my transition was I worked and built my business. Right now, we live in a gig economy. There's no reason why you can't have a job. I don't even understand how unemployment is a thing. There's too many things that you can be doing. You can take all of your transferable skills and put them to work at an hourly rate for yourself. They call it virtual assistants.
Yep.
Everybody needs it. There's too many gigs. There's Uber and all other ones, and Lyft and all the people. So there are too many places where you can really add income to yourself while you build your business. And so that's what I did before that was even available. I just worked and built. And I waited. I mean, for me, I'm a woman of prayer and faith. And so I waited until I really understood that this was what God wanted me to do. And I was able to make that transition from a financial services job where I worked as a sales assistant to a financial broker. And I exited that job and was able to survive as we built our business.
That is amazing. So when I saw your profile, you were based in Philadelphia.
Yes.
But when we talked,
Yeah.
by my surprise, you relocated to Jacksonville, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And so from that, what made that transition happen for you?
So there's a lot that has happened in between, right? So the cleaning contracting company, my father and my brother still run that business. I am no longer CEO of that business, right? They still run that. I exited that business about 8 years ago. I went on to run another company supplying Boeing aircraft parts to the federal government, which is a whole nother thing. And I teach courses on how to supply product and things to the government.
Wait a minute. You supply what? Boeing aircraft? Okay.
Yeah. Boeing aircraft parts. Yep. For the F-15 and the F-18 and KC-135, Chinook, and Apache. So all the warfighter planes or the warfighter jets or whatever. We supply Boeing spare parts directly to the DLA. And I have a course where I teach small businesses about a system called DIBS, one of my favorites, where I've won hundreds of Department of Defense purchase orders without ever writing a proposal, ever. No.
Okay, you see, you got me sitting back, right? Oh,
No
wow.
proposals.
Wow. And see,
No
that's
proposals.
what attracted me to your mission. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, she's serious about what she's doing. So now your father and your brothers running the construction business. You were working with Boeing aircraft parts, and I guarantee you probably house no inventory.
Yeah, the only inventory we had was inventory for overruns, where the DLA would want 10, but the minimum order quantity was 15, so we had 5 left over. That's the only way we acquired inventory. And
Got
so
it.
I actually still have access to that inventory today. And I haven't directly supplied Boeing aircraft parts to the federal government in about 2-3 years. But I still have access to inventory. So from time to time, I'll still put quotes in. But now I'm more teaching about those opportunities than anything else because small businesses are missing it. So the first thing that I would be asking is kind of where are the micro purchases? Where are the simplified acquisitions? How do you get started in the federal marketplace? Those certifications, like we talked about earlier, that's one place. Like doing the 8A certification is one thing. I do recommend that you have some kind of legs under you, like in the commercial space. Have a business, be profitable on the commercial side. Don't just rely on that 8A program to get you things that you need. But that's like the first thing that I would say. You could start there, but look into purchases that are 10,000 and under. Look into purchases that are 25,000 and under. Those are low-hanging fruit opportunities. Those are the opportunities that small businesses are missing, but they're opportunities that allow you to build significant, like, past performance. So from the Boeing aircraft parts to the teaching and training, that's really what we're doing right now.
Awesome. That's great. So from I noticed from your bio that you deal with a lot of the entrepreneur mindset. That's kind of been my heavy mantra last year during the pandemic, where I was trying to tell entrepreneurs, we cannot be able to pivot or be successful unless we work on our mindset mentality. And I noticed that you teach a lot on that. And I loved your book, your platform, Walk on Water.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
So Water Walker.
Yes, Water Walker. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was
Yeah,
thinking about Peter.
No, that's where that's from. So
Okay.
Water Walker is actually, it's a book that I wrote 2 years ago now. And in that book, I take the story of Peter and Jesus, and we look at this real small exchange between them. And then I show you kind of what I've done along the same lines as Peter. And then I ask you at the end of the chapter, what you gonna do? So you see what Peter did, you see what I did. And then I'm gonna ask you, like, what are you gonna do? And so real quick, I teach a walk method in that book. And that is something, it's a method and a mindset that I use even in federal contracting. So the walk method is real quick. It's WALK. W stands for willing to stand alone. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter what you're looking to do. You must be willing to stand alone. You must understand that everybody is not going to clap for you, and everyone is not going to applaud or even understand what you're doing. But you have to be so committed to the thing that you are one of the people that asked to come out of the boat. Peter's not the only disciple in the boat, but he is the only one that says, can I come out there where you are? He's the only one that gets out of the boat. So be that one, willing to stand alone. A is always take action. The truth of the matter is, and I'm speaking to all of y'all that are listening, this is probably your 455,000th webinar. And you really probably don't lack any information. You have everything that you need. You don't need to be informed as much as you need to be reminded. And then you need to take action on what you do know. So some of you are waiting for all the ducks to line up still. You're just waiting for a perfect set of circumstances. You're waiting for all the clouds to be gone out of the sky. And some doors don't open till you walk up to them. So you're not going to have perfect conditions. You got to be willing to take action. So that's two. Take action. Always take action. L is let it go. You can't hold on to what was and fully embrace what's to come. You can't live in two realities, right? You got to let go of what was in order to embrace what's to come. So Peter can't hold on to the boat and walk on water. You just can't do both. So you got to be willing to let it go. And your it probably is your regrets, right? That shoulda, coulda, woulda. That you got to let all that go. And so that's what let it go is about. And then K is keep it moving. So once you get out there, your persistent, consistent effort is the thing that's going to get you results. Be consistent and watch what happens. Be consistent. Watch what happens.
So this book is available. I'm sorry, this book is available on Amazon, right?
Yes, it's available on Amazon, and there's a Kindle version. The Kindle version of the book has speaking, and it has some activities in there. There's a workbook. It's all kinds of stuff on the Kindle version, but you can get it on Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you talked about the no bid opportunities. Let's get into simplified acquisitions with the federal government.
Mm-hmm. So the thing that you need to understand about doing business with the federal government, right, is that they buy in a variety of ways. So there are contract opportunities, there are purchase orders, there are purchase cards. There are these IDIQs, which are like indefinite time, indefinite quantity type orders where there's a big contract and when they need you, they'll call you type deal. So you can have those types of contracts. Those are usually longer term contracts. You have government wide contracts, GWACs. You have the GSA schedule, which if you register in SAM, the first thing you're going to get is a whole lot of solicitations about, do you want to be on a GSA schedule and win 5-year contracts? A GSA schedule is the easiest way for me to explain it for someone who doesn't understand at all. A GSA schedule is almost like it's a agreement with the government that you will sell them a certain product or service at a certain price, and they can make an order to you against that schedule. So there are some products that they buy, like, let's say like military boots or something like that. Instead of putting out a solicitation and getting all these prices back, they can go to the GSA schedule, which are contractors that hold a schedule, and they already know this contractor will sell us boots for this amount. We're going to pick them. And it doesn't have to go out for bid or whatever. So that's a GSA contract. And then there's micro purchases. So there's all these different ways. And this is important for you to know, because most people just think 5-year proposal writing team, big funding. I don't have the resources or the time. What I do is to focus on opportunities that are simplified acquisitions. That's $250,000 and below. Right? Those opportunities have different kinds of requirements and different levels of approval. A simplified acquisition is a simplified contracting vehicle, meaning you don't have to jump through all the hoops that you would normally have to jump through over that threshold. Okay, so that's one type. Then there are micro purchases. Micro purchases are $10,000 and under. A micro purchase can be made with a buyer with a government issued credit card or a purchase card. So my very first government contract was with a Veterans Administration building, right? We happen to know the purchase card holder who sat in the office every single day with a purchase card. She's authorized by the government to spend up to a certain amount of money on her purchase card. At the time that we won our first contract, that threshold was not $10,000, it was $3,500. So when we
Wow.
offered janitorial services on a weekly basis to this veterans space, and it was small, we made sure that our proposal to them, which was just one page, this is what we're going to clean, this is how many times, we made sure that our price was $34.99. $1,499. You know why? Because she can spend $3,500. And we're under the threshold. So there's no approval, there's no bidding, there's no solicitation. Nobody else in the world knows we have that contract. When you
Right.
get above 25,000, it goes out to the public, and everybody, according to the FAR, which is the Federal Acquisition Regulation, everybody has to have an opportunity to bid on it over that 25,000. So 10,000 keeps you under the radar. You can have conversations with folks at a Veterans Administration building, at a DLA office, at a federal, even a military installment. Like you can have those conversations and qualify for opportunities that nobody else is going to bid on.
So you bring a good segue into our conversation on yesterday with the SBA about building relationships.
Oh yeah.
So why is that key in getting into the federal marketplace?
Yeah, well, that's key to just being successful in business, period. Because I mean, if you're not building relationships, then what are you doing?
That's
Right.
good.
So that the relationships are key. Understanding how to leverage those relationships is where people like myself come in, because I help small businesses who have relationships and don't know what to do with them.
That's true.
Right?
That
Because
is
there are
true.
some people that you have a list of folks on LinkedIn. You have people all in your inbox. You have people all around you, and you're sitting there like, well, how can I use this one to do it? Again, going back to my statement of you don't need anything else. You
Wow.
have everything you need, but you have to learn to leverage those relationships. And from the beginning, when I did not have money, marketing budget, or anything, so me being on the cover of Black Enterprise, Essence Magazine, New York Times, NBC Nightly News, BET, I can go on, right?
Right.
First runner-up, Madam C.J. Walker. I've been 40 under 40 in New York and in Pennsylvania. All of that with no PR person, no publicist, no press kit, none of that. All of that through relationship.
Wow.
Because I'm not coming through the door saying, here's my pen, buy this thing. I'm coming in asking questions. What kind of things are you having difficulty in your business? How can I be of a support to you? I am looking to build relationships. And for me, I didn't have the money. Let's be clear. So all I had was this right here.
Right.
And I got really, really good at telling my story really, really quickly to people and saying the words that they could remember. And people were talking on my behalf.
That's
I would
good.
walk into rooms after a while and they'll be like, this is Sirena. You need to know her. You need to know her because she had twins when she was 17 years old. She built this multi-million-dollar business. She was on the cover of Black Enterprise and she is doing the darn thing. What else do I need to say?
Nothing.
Except, how you doing?
Now, one of our viewers, I was gonna wait to the end, but she got a good question, and it's even a good question for me, being a native of Jacksonville. She said, "How do you leverage those relationships in Jacksonville, Florida, without wasting time?"
Well, one, I would be looking to leverage outside of Jacksonville, Florida. First of all, because and I would need to know more. So I would need to know, what are you doing? What are you looking to do? And why are you focused on Jacksonville?
Exactly.
That's kind of what I would need, because I'm new to Jacksonville, right? I'm new to Jacksonville, and I've only been here since September. In Jacksonville, for those of you that are in Jacksonville, I actually oversee the management of Kingdom Plaza, which is on the Potter's House campus. So if you're ever at Soul Food Bistro on the west side,
Yes.
Sirena is over here in suite number 10, right? Because I oversee the management now. We're reimagining this place and changing it into a destination. I came here with no Rolodex, right? I've already walked through this building from the chamber. I've walked through with college presidents. I've walked through I came to town and hit the ground running. Who's who and who do I need to know? Right? So if I'm in business, where do my customers hang out?
Exactly.
Right? Where are my customers? Because you can network all day and it'd be just for nothing, you know?
Right.
So where are my customers? Where are the people that need to know that I exist? Where are they? And then you start building relationships there.
That's good. She says my attendee says she's in training and development. She said right now she's teaching for a company in is that Virginia?
Okay.
I love it, and I'm interested in more opportunities like this. And then she says, I'm picking up diversity, equity, inclusion as well, virtual environment. And then she also says she definitely need to connect with you. That was my piece when I started out, Sirena, in Jacksonville with my business 6 years ago. I was like you. I got my first contract at the Chamber of Commerce. I was working with the Entrepreneur Growth Division, where I was able to touch those entrepreneurs at any stage, helping them with the mindset, helping them be able to articulate and tell their story. But then it came a point into a place where I had pitched at an event they had. The judges didn't have no questions or no what you call rebuttal to my pitch, but I didn't win the competition. And at first I felt some kind of way, but then I thought about it. I done outgrew the circle.
Yeah.
So that's when I started expanding, and I franchised in 2019 early 2019 before the pandemic to start doing business in Georgia. So I incorporated another entity in Georgia, but like you said, I had to hit the ground running. I had to find out where my customer was, because I can't take the model I was using in Jacksonville to move it in the area of Georgia, because of different regions do business different.
Right.
So my question is, I'm leading into the question of, for those individuals who struggle trying to find out where their customer is now, since we're in this new normal, what best practices or strategies could you recommend for them to find that customer?
Yeah. So there are a host of free services, right? So
Okay.
there's a host of free services that are available to business owners. And I teach this in my Federal Accelerator class, and I go through them all, right? So there are places, of course, like the ones you know about, the SBDC, right? There's PTAC, the Procurement Technical Assistance Center. They focus primarily on federal contracting. But then there's your SBA, of course, that's one place. Then there's SCORE, there's Service Corps of Retired Executives, which that's what it used to be. It's now just SCORE. So there's all these free resources, right? Now, your job as a savvy business owner, right? Because I can't teach you how to be a CEO. You come on with me, right? You, as a savvy business owner, you need to know how to use those relationships. So we don't show up at SBDC's door and say, "How do you help me?" I come there knowing how you help me. And I tell you what I need you to do according to how I know you can help me. That's a different approach. We're not coming in like, well, I started this business. Because what they're going to do is read you the script. Okay, well, first thing you do is you're going to go to da-da-da-da-da, and they're going to all say the same thing to everybody in every industry, right? So things like SCORE. If I identify a mentor as SCORE, I can identify a mentor by industry.
Right.
My SCORE mentor coach is going to do something totally different than my SBDC counselor.
Right.
Right? My SBDC counselor is going to help me get that foundation together. So make sure my LLC is right. Make sure my books are correct. Make sure my accounting is on point. And then they're going to know me. They're going to like me. They're going to love me. And they're going to get things coming across their desk. And they're like, you need to know Sirena. Matter of fact, Sirena, let me connect you with. So that's how those relationships start. In the places where contracts are flowing, where conversations are happening, your name needs to be coming up in the conversation. The other things that I do, and that I did then, right? This is how I was getting nominated for all this stuff. People were nominating me. I was like, I didn't know I was nominated for this award till I got a letter. And things were, so what would happen is we would go to a networking event, and we haven't had many since COVID, but I would go to a networking event, be it online or wherever. Let there be 150 people there. First of all, Serena's not wearing black, Serena's wearing yellow. Okay, because you're gonna be like, that girl over there with the yellow. I talked to her. That's who you want to meet, right? Because we're in a sea of black at a networking event. This is a secret. That's $1 million secret. Don't go to no networking event wearing that black and brown, please. Staying out, please. Please.
Okay. So thank you.
So that the people can say, that lady over there with the yellow blazer, still look, don't come in there looking like, Punky Brewster or nothing like that, but certainly stand out and take the opportunity. When there are places where they say, are there any questions? Be the one, even if you got to Google an intelligent question. I used to do stuff like that. When I didn't know what to ask, I would be at these big events in these big ballrooms with a microphone in the middle of the floor. And I'm like, I don't even know what we're talking about. They said something about green construction. And let me Google a question that sounds intelligent. And I would say, hi, I'm Sirena Moore Thomas. I'm with AHEM Cleaning Contractors Incorporated. We have grown our business to well over $2 million in sales. I'm 27 years old, and I'm looking to learn more about this space. My question to you is, guess what I just did? I qualified myself in 15 seconds.
To the whole room.
300 people.
To the whole room. Yeah.
Guess what I'm doing the rest of the day? Chilling. They coming to me.
Yeah.
They're
exactly.
And so these are things this is why I say my blissful ignorance was my biggest blessing, because these were things I just did because I didn't have another way. Most of the time I didn't have a business card. I couldn't afford whatever everybody else was doing. So I had to learn to do what you can, where you are with what you have the conversations with the right people and get them excited about what you're doing so that they can share on your behalf, and you build from there. When you tell somebody you're going to email them. Keep your word. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. I'm going to stop preaching.
Follow up. That's true. I love the Simplified Acquisitions. Ashley, we're going to get to that question, but I want her to get in. She talked about the micro purchases, and I want to get into this federal government bid board platform that you talked about, one of your favorites. That I know you mentioned Dibs earlier.
Yeah.
But I wanted to hear more of what was your favorite preference.
So there's two, and I'll tell you exactly what you do. It's free to do, right? So the very first step to doing business with the federal government is simply registering your business in sam.gov. That's like step number one, okay? sam.gov, you got to have that done. SBA handles that, and you go there, get yourself registered. You'll go through getting a DUNS number and all that stuff, right? Once you're registered there, the next place that I recommend that you go to see more about micro purchases and simplified acquisitions is it's called Unison Global. And I'm going to tell you to put this in. It's fedbid.com. Now, don't worry, because I know typically a .com is nothing to do with government, right? Because you kind of leery on those. But fedbid.com will redirect you to Unison Global Marketplace. That particular site is a place where government agencies and sometimes even state agencies will put out bids for everything from dog food to yoga pants to right now I just answered one for a court reporter where it's a price proposal only typically. They do have everything from training to groundskeeping, security. There's some other things that are on there. And every once in a while on that particular platform, you will have to have some kind of executive summary every once in a while. But most of the time it is based on price. Not even most of the time. All of the time it's based on price. But just sometimes you have to attach other things. So that's fedbid.com. I've had students win dog food bids that I've been talking about. One of my students just a couple months ago, she's in, I don't know what she do, training development, and she won a contract to supply Purina dog food to Border Patrol. and she's fulfilled that contract. She won another one after that for HVAC through that system that I'm telling you about. I've supplied whiteboard paint to Kabul, Afghanistan, to the embassy through that system right there.
Wow.
I had another student win for lemon juice
Oh my goodness.
on there. So fedbid.com is a good place for you to see the array of opportunities. Okay. To kind of see the stuff that they're buying.
Okay.
That's one. The bid board system that I talked about that's my favorite is DIBS. DIBS stands for DIBBS. DIBS stands for DLA Internet Bid Board System. Okay. Now, the DLA is like, the easiest way to understand it is like, DLA is like the government's Home Depot.
Right.
Okay? So they supply to all the different military commands, to allied nations. They supply to everywhere. And they supply medical supplies, textiles, t-shirts, construction materials, aircraft parts, all kinds of things, weapons. Wow. They supply all types of things. Okay. That DLA bid board system is the one where there are no proposals at all on the RFQ side. So I work on RFQs on DIBS. RFQs are 250,000 and under.
Okay.
And if you're following me, RFQs are going to be your simplified acquisitions.
Got it.
All they want is a price. So here's how a transaction looks. If I'm in an IT business, for example, and I do IT services, right? I'm doing services. In my service, I have to use things like Dell computers or Dell products.
Right.
Well, in DIBS, the DLA has a need for, let's say, a Dell product. Because I have an account with Dell, I can order a Dell product because I have access to it, and I can mark that up and supply that Dell product to the DLA at the marked up price, and simply give them a price, wait for the order it from Dell, and send it to DLA and be done with the transaction.
You done blessed me just then. Wow. Wow.
I don't have to do this service. And so my experience with even the Boeing parts, right? I don't know a thing about aircraft parts. I don't know a thing about an aircraft. I ain't gonna fly one, never want to, not interested. I don't even like flying on one, right?
Got it.
What our company was able to negotiate was a blanket order and agreement with Boeing, where we had access to a Boeing catalog of parts. And every single day in the DIV system, DLA puts out over 2,000 opportunities, meaning they're saying to primarily the small business community, we need these 2,000 items or more. I mean, it's more than that, right? We need these items. Do you have access to it? So Boeing, we took what we had access to through Boeing. We would go out every day to see what Boeing parts does the DLA need. We would cross-reference, and maybe there were 1,000 different Boeing parts. Of those 1,000, we had access to 250.
Wow.
We would every day put in 250 different quotes, matching what they need, part number for part number, with what we had access to and supplying.
Awesome. Okay, I got floods of questions over here in this chat. Okay. First question, Ashley, I'm gonna wait on the matchmaking events. I want to get to these the last two you just posted. How many NACI codes do you recommend adding to your profile? Also, resources for capability statement. And then how important is building business credit and government contracting?
Okay, so a couple things. I have a course. It's called a Federal Contracting Accelerator course. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you that because all the things you just mentioned, simplified acquisitions, micro purchases, capability statements, setting up your SAM profile, standing out in the dynamic small business search, and how many NAICS codes, how many SIC codes, what the FSC codes, all that is covered in some good old Sirena videos. And I show them, I do them just like this. So it's on demand, and it is
Good.
fun, and it's interactive. And my courses are available on waterwalkeracademy.com. Okay. That's where my courses are. Now, for anybody that's on here, you can use the coupon code student30, and you get 30% off of whatever course you want. Okay. Student 30 on the coupon code, but waterwalkeracademy.com is where you want to go. There's a video, explains it. All the FAQs are there. I'll answer your question though. So how many NAICS codes you should have? It really depends on what it is that you're looking to do. And that if you are just registering in SAM, if you have your core business, you definitely want to do that. If you're looking to get into products, right? If you're looking into supplying product, and when I say supplying product, hear me closely. I'm not saying come with your purple pen and see if the government will come buy your purple pen. I'm talking about supplying what the government says that they need. The great thing about the federal government is they tell you exactly what they need, exactly what quantity, and exactly who the approved source is for it. Meaning they say, I want a Dell Inspiron 250 with 300 with, I don't know the details, but they give you all the things. And it's your job to get it and supply it, not come selling your purple pen. You can sell your purple pen, but that's a whole different thing. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about. So if you're interested in supplying product, I recommend that you always add a NAICS code for things like medical supplies or what else do I have? I think construction supply codes. Always add those. It can't hurt you. I know that there are people that are from the era of it's going to confuse the buyers. You're going to look all over the place and things like that. No, you have an opportunity to tell what you do when you beef up your dynamic small business search profile, which accompanies your SAM profile. So you have an opportunity to explicitly state what it is that you do really, really well. And then you can add those other things. So add as many NAICS codes as you want. And if anybody question you, tell them Sirena said it. And oh well.
You know what? I'm so glad you went into that statement about being all over the place because I was told that years ago, especially from SBDC and SCORE, about, you need to focus on one thing. You need to master one thing. But my background is very diverse. So when you have individuals who are multifaceted in multiple industries. And I know this is offered in your course. If not, I know you do leadership and executive coaching. What some advice today that you can give an individual when they're building relationships when people view them in that manner?
Yeah, I mean, the focus has its place, right? So you do need to prove yourself somewhere.
Got it.
Okay, you do need to prove yourself somewhere. You can't stay all over the place, right?
Right.
There are many things that I do, which is why I call myself a transactional engineer.
That's cool.
I do transactions.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes they're janitorial, sometimes they're leadership training and development, sometimes they're parts, sometimes it just is what it is. I'm a business owner. We have a management consulting firm, and you'll see this even when you see those big contracts getting awarded. And this is something you can do. Get your NAICS codes. You can put it in like beta.sam.gov, right? And look at awards. Look at awards that are in your NAICS codes, and look at the companies that are getting those awards. Right. So take your primary, because everybody has a primary NAICS code.
Right.
Look at the companies that are getting the awards within your primary NAICS codes and run them jokers through SAM. .gov, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pull their profile, go to their website, see what they look like. A lot of them are they look like holding companies. I'm like,
Right.
how you do IT, janitorial, security, you right? And medical supplies, and y'all doing
Yes.
training.
Yes.
You're gonna see that. So for my new company, for example, the Highmark Group, we're a management consulting company. A
Right.
lot of things fall under that. We're a
Right.
management company. So we
Mm-hmm.
manage multiple things.
Right.
And when you look at our capabilities, it's just that we manage lots of things. So the people that are saying, not to be all over the place, sometimes that has its place, right? But if you have past performance in one area, certainly you want to build on that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're looking to supply multiple things, you can be a distributor,
Hmm.
so and so distribution company. You ain't got to tell them what you distributed, you know. And then the other thing about like my training, and I keep referring to it because I worked hard on it, because I decided that I wanted to do what I wish somebody would have done for me. That's my
Right.
training is straight on. I give you everything. Like, I give you costs, I give you like how to come up with your costs, how to answer sources sought proposals. I give you every template I've ever used. I don't teach what I heard, what I read, what I think somebody did. I only teach you what I've done and gotten results doing. And the difference between me and, SBDC, PTAG, SBA, they have their place. Most of them, though, ain't never won a contract a day in their life.
Mm.
That's the difference.
That's
Most of
good.
them have never actually won a contract. You
Okay.
understand? So I speak from a business owner's perspective who has won contracts and has been on this side of the transaction.
Got it. Okay. All right. Ashley is asking the question. She said, "Preach, sister." She said she's been in business since 2000. She has a registered LLC. Um, she said, "I heard it said that you need to establish an agency, then become a glorified staffing agency." And then she mentioned a question about what about HR stuff too on hiring. See, Ashley, I'm gonna tell you, I'm finna echo Sirena right here. You need to sign up for her class. Let's talk about your class. Where they can find you, how can they sign up, how much is the commitment,
Yeah.
what they, do they have a team? Let's get into the logistics of your courses and your training.
Yeah. So, and I can address some of that. But
Okay.
so my training again is at waterwalkeracademy.com.
Okay.
Okay. There's a federal contracting accelerator course. That's the one that's all about simplified acquisitions, micro purchases, and all the things. That's like redefining federal contracting for you. How do you find those dog food bids, and what do you do when you get them? Those kind of things. So that's what that is. Then my other course is specifically on DIBS, just on the DLA bid board system. I recommend for that, you should know something about federal contracting, because I'm not going into how to register and SAM on the DIBS course. The DIBS course, it has a video before it, so it tells you exactly who it's for, and there's frequently asked questions on all of them. In both of the courses, I don't just help you or give you a bunch of information, right? Because I'm about how do we practically apply this stuff. So there are activities for you to do at each and every module. You work through it yourself. Every person that enrolls in my course becomes a part of our student hub, which is a private Facebook group on, a private group on Facebook. And I'm in there. My team is in there. We answer questions. We have live events. We do challenges. Like right now, we're in the middle of a traction challenge. So we're helping everybody in the group, no matter if you just started the course today or whether you graduated from the course 6 months ago. We're all in this group. You can post questions. You can ask for opinions about your capability statement. We're all speaking the same language. I come in there and do Q&As on a monthly basis, sometimes twice a month, to help you along, because I want to hold your hand. I want to see you in. So that's my commitment, right? I'm committed to my group, my business owners in that group. So that's what happens there. You also get resources so that you don't have to scour the entire internet. I give you every template, every definition. I even give you a list of purchase card holders.
Mm.
in the one course, and tell you what to call them and say. We give you
Wow.
scripts, like everything that I could think of, I put it in there. And this wasn't just done with me sitting in a room like, okay, what am I going to sell? During COVID, we did cohorts of boot camps that were live. I was live meeting with 25 businesses at a time for 6 weeks and giving them everything that I got. I mean, everything. And then they would give me feedback. And we took that feedback and developed the self-paced course.
That's
Okay.
good.
So when you talk about you have to have an agency and then things like that and become a glorified staffing agency, I've heard that language before. And when you are a government contractor, part of what you do is kind of like a glorified staffing agency that is very accurate. Nobody says that, but that is accurate, right? But you don't have to start an agency. You come in with your capabilities, right? Because I'm not teaching you not to be capable. Know what you're doing.
Right.
Right. Know how to provide value according to what the government needs. Like, this is not just offer them, it's not Amazon dropship. That's not what this is. So do know what you're doing, know the language, know how to speak intelligently about what it is that you're offering, and know how to speak their language is most important. So part of the course is learning how to speak governese, how you speak that. I teach you that. So glorified staffing agency, let me just hit on that for a second. When I won my janitorial contract that was in Texarkana, Texas, it was at a Marine Center. And there
Mm-hmm.
was a guy that was working there. His name was Mr. Huey. And the company no longer had the contract. They were losing the contract because they were no longer in the 8A program. I came in as an 8A contractor and was able to kind of pick this contract up. One of the first things that I did was I called the site and I talked to the person in charge at the location, at the Marine Center, not the contractor, but I think it was a colonel or somebody. I said, hey, we're looking into the janitorial contract here. I just got a quick question for you. How do you feel about the janitorial staff that's there? And he was like, oh, no, we love Mr. Huey. We pick him up for work and he's the best. The company doesn't give him the supplies he needs, though, but we love him. We love having him here. We're sad if he has to go. And guess what I said? If you like it, I love it. Mr. Huey can work for me. I'm going to send you a new shirt from Mr. Huey to put on and some direct deposit paperwork. And we're going to let you keep Mr. Huey. Let Mr. Huey do what he's been doing for the last 5 years for our company. Because in
Wow.
the government space, when that contractor loses the contract, typically those people also lose that job
Mm.
unless they have another place to put them. They
Right.
were losing the contract. They loved the guy already. So I used the strategy of incumbent staff over and over again, using staff that existed already.
Mm-hmm.
And that works. So when you say like a staffing agency, it's it's kind of similar, because he's under my direction, and I would send somebody out there to check on the job from time to time. But he's been there 5 years. He knows it better than me anyway. Why
Right.
not him work for me?
Exactly.
But that's more being a strategic business owner. I'm not going to Texarkana if I don't have to.
That's good. I like that. She mentioned something about managing the contract and closing out the contract. But actually, I think that's also available in Sirena course. And this is one of the missions and mantras that I've been speaking to for entrepreneurs. And I'm quite sure you're reiterated. We got to make time to learn how to work on our business. We are
Mm-hmm.
experts and kings and queens in working what we
In
do,
it. Mm-hmm.
but we won't even make the investment in the time to learn how to work on the business, and even with pivoting in this new normal.
Yeah.
So Ashley, I highly encourage you to sign up on Walker Water, use the student code that Sirena has provided, so you can really get in depth. And I think to reiterate, Sirena, correct me if I'm wrong, the Facebook group is included after you complete her training.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's included the day you enroll, you're in the Facebook group.
Okay.
So the Facebook group is a part of it. Q&A and continuous support as you are in the program
Okay.
is a part of it. And you have access to the course for its lifetime access. And so as I learn new things, as I get exposed to new things, I update the course. I put that in there. And the other thing that I would say is this: the course is also, especially the accelerator course, it is really, really designed for your support staff. And here's why. You business owners, y'all know who you are. You start things and you don't finish them. Okay.
Right.
Because you get pulled, because vision is taking you there, here, and everywhere else, and you're trying to keep things together. And so what we decided is it makes a lot of sense for us to train your staff so that when you say, hey, I want to do business with FEMA, your staff knows how to find the FEMA forecast, how to contact the OSDBU, what to say, who the purchase card holders are, where the opportunities are, and not just where to find them, but how to respond to them and how to interpret them.
That's
We
good.
get your people together so that they can perform and help you reach your federal contracting goals. And so you may need to consider sending a virtual assistant through the program, a secretary through the program, a business development person. You may consider hiring somebody to go through the program so that they can work for you. My course is $17.97. That's not $17.97. It's $1,797.97, I believe. What is $17.97 if you win a $17,000 contract?
Right.
You know what I mean? What, or a $10,000 simplified, micro purchase. What
Right.
is that? So we deal with value here. It won't ever be $97 because you know what? For $97, people want your blood and
Right.
your sweat, your tears, and they don't want to do no work. At $17.97, you either going to invest or you're not.
Right.
And you can't be walking around talking about you want to build $1 million business and you got $47.97 to invest. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's the truth. I agree, Ashley. She said it's well worth the investment. I am so honored. I'm privileged. I know Oracle for Startup, Startup Grind, American Express. We have been enlightened to hear from Sirena. I am so happy my little fingers Google on LinkedIn and came across you. I look forward to us working together more. This will not be your last time because just like you said, surveying your customers, government contracting was one of the demands that was requested in our global community of 3.5 million is how to effectively do business with the government. And you said two key things. You have to have a team to help you navigate and manage this process because you're right, business owners, we do get pulled in all kind of directions. And then building relationships and leveraging the relationships you already have. So some of the things you hit on, I checked off some of them boxes. A couple of them I haven't checked off yet, but it lets me know and it confirms that not just myself, but anyone that's listening on how to get on the right track. So I want you to let everyone know in the Jacksonville area, how can they connect with you at Kingdom Plaza locally in Jacksonville, Florida? What's happening in Kingdom Plaza?
So at Kingdom Plaza, I've been working on this reimagined project virtually for over a year now. So for over a year, we've been working with the folks here on the ground, and then we decided in the middle of the pandemic, prayerfully, we moved because the Lord said so. For whoever can appreciate that, and I walk on water. That's what we do. So we moved because it was time. And so my husband and I own a barbershop here, barbershop and salon right here in Kingdom Plaza. We have executive suites that are here that are available for rent for people that are looking for small offices. We are in a hub zone. And so if you wanted an office space that's in a hub zone where you can also be hub zone certified, then this space is available for you to rent for those purposes. That's one. But we have most are familiar with Soul Food Bistro. There's Temple Builders, the fitness center. There's Kingpins Bowling. There's Wealth Watchers here. There's a new insurance agency here. We're no longer a mall. We are very much a place to go. place to eat, work, and play. And so we have a training center in here, and I'm in the conference room of the training center right now. And so we'll be hosting trainings and things like that here out of this training center, and specifically on federal contracting. And so the first thing I would say is to go on Facebook and follow like the Kingdom Plaza page. We just recently kind of got access to the page all over again, and we're rebuilding the marketing there. That's one. Two, stay connected with me. So there are ways I can help you for free. It's on Boss Mom Wife _life on Instagram. I share things on there. So that's on Instagram, Boss Mom Wife _life. I have a podcast, which is the BMW Life, Boss Mom Wife Life. That's on Apple and Google and Spotify and everywhere else. So that podcast is all totally unscripted. It's specifically for those women that are managing multiple hats and half forgetting who they are. So who are you when you're not boss, and when you are not mom, and when you are not wife? And who are you? How do we get to you? And so I want to help you, the real you, the you God can use. I want that you. So that's what the podcast is. So you can connect with me there, and at Mission 500K, which is our new Instagram. So at Mission 500K is the Instagram for the new mission. And then on LinkedIn.
Wow. That's good. So we thank Sirena so much for this valuable knowledge and insight. Those of you that was virtually in the room today, I give you thanks and appreciation. I hope you benefited greatly from this session today. Those of you that's watching the replay, I told you needed to be in the room so you could have asked your questions. But we want you to visit and stay connected with Sirena on LinkedIn and social, Instagram and Facebook. If you want the Federal Accelerator Program, sign up on Water Walker Academy. Her student discount code is student code 30. So you need to take an advantage of it. She told you, and she ain't playing. It is $1,797. Don't call and email me and say, Teresa, you got the hookup. No, I don't. That is her price. You need to pay for the value she's given, because I have tackled federal contracting. It is not easy to navigate that space alone. So you do need someone who already has the master blueprint and the strategy to help you get there. So Sirena Thomas, I am so appreciative. The Startup Grind Jacksonville family appreciates you. Our community appreciates you. And I know Kingdom Plaza is going to love you. I already know what you're going to do. So I will do a pop-up visit because I want to check out what you've been doing. I haven't been over there in a while. And so we're going to collaborate, and we're going to do some things more. Also, SerenaSpeaks.com. She's also a motivational speaker. I've heard some of her videos. This woman of knowledge, she's wealth of knowledge. So take advantage of it. Business owners, please take the time and work on your business, and you're going to be able to be successful even in this new normal. So I am Teresa Gamble, the Jacksonville Startup Grind Chapter Director, the hostess with the mostest. We in the virtual room today with Miss Sirena Thomas of High Mark Group, a management company. She done gave me some new words on how to rename my business because I was stuck doing my website. I appreciate you. You gave me some nuggets today. So let me see what's going on in the comments.
I was putting some of the links that I mentioned. So at Mission 500K.
Yes. So you can connect with her on Boss Mom Wife _life on Instagram, Mission 500K. Remember, her mission is to teach 500,000 small businesses how to seed in federal contracting. And you have to be ready to come to the table to make the investment. So, Miss Sirena, I always give my speakers the last word or last nugget or something for them to remember before we close out this beautiful fireside chat today.
Awesome. Well, first I want to just say thank you so much for having me. And my words are words of encouragement. You know, being a business owner is not easy, and it has its ups and its downs. And you can cry, but don't you dare quit. Okay, just understand that somebody is waiting for the book that only you can write, the business only you can run, the opportunity that only you can provide. And so as you go into the rest of this year, make sure you are focused not just on making major money, but making major impact. Okay. We need what you have, and there are people waiting on you, and I am rooting for you. I know you, I can't see you, and I may not even know you. But if you're connected to me, I don't believe it's by coincidence. And so I'm rooting for you, and I want to see you succeed. And so I'm excited to be here, and please stay connected. Keep me posted. Send me a message. Let me know that you were blessed by something. That just, it goes a long way, right? Because sometimes you can talk and feel like people are not listening. So I always love to hear your feedback.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Miss Thomas. Again, this is Funding Month by global sponsors Oracle for Startups, American Express Corporate Program for Startups, where we have heard today stories, lesson learned, best practices that has been shared by founders and funders around the world. You have been watching and listening to Startup Grind Jacksonville, redefining federal contracting, how to be successful in the federal marketplace. Thanks for tuning in, and stay tuned. Later on tonight, 6 p.m., North Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, and Fort Lauderdale, South Florida is cross-promoting an event with the world's largest crowdfunding source, WeFunder. We're going to be speaking with the Vice President, Johnny Price, in the United Kingdom. You don't want to miss that later on tonight. So go on startupgrind.com /Jacksonville to register. Thank you, and you all have a beautiful afternoon.
Funding Month, presented with Oracle for Startups and American Express, recognizes the stories, lessons learned, and best practices shared by founders and funders around the world.